All right, guys, we are back in the same outfits. Obviously, we record a few of these at a time and just release them slowly. But
we do. I don't want no continuity Nazis coming back and being like, it's. I don't know.
But Cole had another video that last we left off. We were watching cringy commercials, right? That you just come across.
For ads, yep.
You said you had another one?
Yeah. So you guys love that segment so much that we're coming.
We got a lot of feedback from you in the meantime.
No, actually, this is a little bit different because this is one that I saw that I was just so impressed by it, by what they were selling and how they advertised it.
And I see those sometimes.
I feel like you're going to appreciate this because I was just blown away by it.
It's weird. I see a thumbnail and it's like a cartoon, so I don't know what to expect.
This just popped up as like I think I was watching a longer video on YouTube, and this was one of like those in the middle ads that goes on really long unless you skip it. And it's one of the first ones that I actually didn't skip because I was so entranced by it. I was like, what the hell? So here it is.
Sourced and bottled in majestic mountains, liquid death mountain water will murder your thirst.
I love that he stabbed the boom mic through somebody and the guy screamed because he was scared, and it screamed so loud that it killed the person who had the headphones on. The audio
His
guy
head exploded.
And I love that when he runs over the band, the music stops because they were the people playing the hardcore music.
Yeah. It's such a genius commercial. The animation is hilarious, but it's for mountain water. Yeah, that's the thing.
It is called Liquid Death.
Yeah, so somebody made a company that sells mountain water that for some reason is you can buy off Amazon.
Yeah,
and it's called Liquid Death. And it's just this like heavy metal, just gory, ridiculous ad.
He punches somebody through the throat while they're driving and takes the wheel and steers it off a cliff.
It's so over the top. It's so unnecessary.
It makes me wonder if it says sold on by Amazon or sold on Amazon. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's got to be like how you can like print t-shirts from a t-shirt company and you just put your own brand on them and sell them. Like it's just based off your marketing.
Yeah,
I swear they probably just like can mountain water and then you can just put your own logos and stuff on them and like whatever marketing you come up with, if it's genius. Like,
dude, that's great. That's great.
What an amazing play on something, because people are just gonna buy that because it's cool. Yeah, they're not buying that because it's the best water they can buy. It made me
want to buy it. It comes out of like it comes in one of those like Monster Energy drink can looking things.
It's water.
It's mountain water. Yeah, it's like.
That's amazing.
Anyways, I just thought you'd appreciate it.
That's a super cool commercial. What a weird... I'm surprised that gory stuff can even play on ads. Yeah. I'm surprised it plays. I don't know.
Imagine like my confusion seeing that like from the beginning, and then just as soon as he like chops that dude's head off or whatever it started with, I was just like, huh? What?
What is this for you? Wow.
Anyways, yeah. But and then before we started, I know we talked a little bit about news. Before you go into what you want to talk about, I did want to say the one awesome thing that happened in 2020 that I feel like went really under the radar was a bit of news. Did you hear that they found a new species of whale?
No.
They found this research vessel was off the coast of Mexico, and it picked up sonar. What are those called? Little noises that whales make.
Damn, I don't know.
You guys know what I mean.
Like a ping off of their sonar thing.
Yeah.
I know that's not what we're talking about, but
but basically that. And they were like, oh, I think this is this kind of whale. Because I guess that's what these research vessels do is they listen for the whales talking.
Echolocation thing? No. Okay, never mind.
Something else. I don't know.
Scratch that.
I might be tripping. But they listen for these audio signals from these whales, and then they're able to either put them in a computer that then generates like what kind of species they are, or like they have
it's like a Shazam for sea creatures.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. They were like, I'm pretty sure it's this really rare species of beaked whale because it sounds similar to what they are. And so they go, and these 3 whales approach their vessel. So it was really easy to like look at them and identify them and document them and stuff. And they found out there's a whole new species of whale that hadn't been discovered yet. Isn't that crazy that our ocean is so big that even in 2020, we're finding new species of whole ass whales?
That is insane.
Right?
That's crazy, man.
Man, it blew my mind. I was like, I never thought I'd see that headline that a new species of whale was discovered.
Yeah, like I still think it's crazy that they find new species of like frogs and stuff all the time. Which that makes more sense. They're small. They move around. Yeah. But you think something as big as a damn whale, and I know not all whales are huge, but like. You just think you'd come across that.
I know.
Like, that's interesting.
And these things are mammals. You know, they surf. They like come up to the surface and they breathe all the time. You'd think by now we would have documented. They don't just like crawl
in the deepest depths of the ocean and never reveal themselves.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Ocean, man.
Wow.
But
one thing I was gonna talk about is just I've recently mainly because of like stocks and stuff, but I've recently just, on the stocks app, there's like a little news section in the bottom. So I'll look at that every morning. And then I started being like, oh yeah, Reddit has a news tab. And I just click on that every morning just to like see, what the newest updates are. And then I also realized like, oh yeah, Facebook has a news tab down at the bottom. I forget exists.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I go there and like I'll just kind of compare them all. I'll look at all three of them. It is so funny. Now that I'm looking at news, like, people complain like, oh, social media, all this stuff. Like, I'm really bad about it. I'll complain about it all day long. But I've just noticed, like, the difference between all the news things are so, like, first of all, I don't think it's any secret. Everybody knows that all the news people, they get paid based off of your eyes on their articles. I mean, they're going to find this clickbaity of a title without it seeming too obvious that is going to get you to... And most of the time react negatively to something.
Sure.
Because negative reactions are more valuable than positive ones when it comes to the news world most of the time.
Definitely. You'll see all the time people like taking a quote from an article that doesn't necessarily have to do with the overall story, but using that as the thing that gets people to click.
Exactly.
And you go in expecting it to be something awful, but really it's nothing that bad.
Yeah.
It was just a quote that was kind of taken out of context, but not really, You're just sitting there like, come on, man.
And we know, like, if you've ever listened to anything about, like, social media stuff, it's always like the algorithm knows... Like, me and you have talked about that a lot. Like, the algorithm knows what people interact with the most based off of millions and millions of experience points that they have online to prove this to the system. Like, okay, people react most with this, and it's always usually the most negative stuff because, we don't like hearing negative stuff, but we do, like, in a way. Like,
it's addictive.
If a computer's looking at it and sees, well, this is stuff they click on, they're like, I'm going to show them more of that kind of stuff. And it's just so funny because on Facebook... Like, I'll look at the news and I'll find the same exact updates on Facebook in the news section. And it is, like, they're almost frustrating to look at.
Really?
Because they sound so ridiculous on Facebook compared to the other news sites that it's like, and the ones that they choose to say, it'll be the same content of news, but they'll spin it, like, whatever article chose to go on Facebook. And Facebook's not the one making the titles. It's whoever's posting about it. Facebook will find the ones, like, accidentally that just sound the worst. Like, they'll just be the most polarizing version of a title that's for the same piece of news you can find over here and actually read and be like, oh, okay, it's really not that big of a deal. This just, some people don't like this, some people like this, and here's the update on this topic. And it's just...
So are you, because...
Facebook news sucks is what I'm saying.
You may have just covered this. It kind of went over me, but so are you saying that, like, the Facebook is pushing these ads more than any other of these places that you check for news because of the Facebook demographic? That's like, just like... clicking on more negative
I feel like that's
articles
the case.
And stuff. It makes sense
because on Reddit, the news that gets to the top, I'm assuming is based off time and upvoting. I'm assuming, I don't know, because probably more about like recent updates because it's news.
But,
and then the stocks app, of course, is mainly money related. But they'll report normal news, and it's literally just oh, Washington Post this and New York Times that. But a lot of the Facebook ones will be these like little niche websites where people can kind of write whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, dude.
And it's just crazy because they'll literally like post, and political stuff's the worst because like regardless of what side you're on or if you're not even on a side, like they will post stuff for both sides that is just like
ridiculous.
Like I read the article on the other website, listened to whatever clip this was or watched it, and they will pick out a word and like quote it and be like, this person's saying this, and it's like, they're not saying that.
Yeah.
Like, I listened to it. You just want somebody to look at this, and it sounds like so guilty and awful, like that this is happening. And even with stuff that's just not even that big of a deal, like celebrity news. Like, it's
definitely.
Crazy.
That's so interesting because I know we talked about, I don't think we talked about this on a podcast because I think it was recent, but we talked about how YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, all these social media platforms that are based on algorithms to get people to click, they're almost evil by themselves accidentally because the goal is to get more clicks. And so
Yeah.
you'll do things like that. And so it's interesting to hear that like a website like Reddit or that app that has a model that's based off of that has news that's more normal.
Yeah.
And then the one platform that has the model based off of that, it's just negative and crazy.
It goes off the rails.
Yeah, it's just chaos.
Yeah, and
That's scary.
There's almost an argument to be made. Well, kind of is an argument to be made that it's our own fault, like because the computer, like the system, it's just told to make as much money as possible by getting your attention. And I think we talked about that because like there's some Netflix documentary, I can't remember the name of it, but there's
The
a lot
Social
of
Dilemma.
something like that. And I haven't even watched it. I've just heard people talk about
I haven't either.
but the whole idea is like, if there was an algorithm that was like me and you talked about, if you're on the highway, right? And the whole algorithm was how can I get the driver's attention on the highway as much as possible just by learning what they look at. Before you know it, all it would show people is car crashes because like or headlights, like or sirens and stuff like that, because even though those things are awful, like it would suck to get in a car wreck, it would just cause a bunch of car wrecks because it knows that that's what's going to get people to look at it. Because anything less than that is just a glance or you don't even look at it at all. And it's just the system responding to what you do. So it's like if Facebook is showing, because Facebook by far so far is the worst.
Yeah.
Like it is like, it actually like makes you be like, ew,
Yeah,
when I look at the news.
Yeah, Facebook's
because just in comparison, it's so bad. Like they're literally just, and it's just the system responding to what people click on. And so it's literally our human brain's fault that it is this way.
It shows that we almost can't handle making things for ourselves like how we want them because it's just going to be awful.
And now that we all are so connected and can look up anything at a moment's notice, we can watch the most horrible stuff online. We can watch the most positive stuff online. Like it's just nothing is ever good enough, like now that we can binge watch shows immediately, it's just instant gratification. Like you have no control. We have no control really. So the system's even more tailored to that, to like basically give us whatever the most polarizing thing is possible. Because I remember they talked about for that whole documentary thing, they were talking about how like when you join Facebook groups, because it's like a huge thing, the Facebook groups, like what was one of the examples? It was like newborns, like mothers with newborn children.
Yeah, okay.
It's like you join one of those and it knows based off people who are technically in those groups what kind of things those people interact with. And it will actually start feeding you like vaccination posts, like in groups.
Because it knows it gets the most comments.
Yeah, because it knows that like, oh, people interact with this because pretty much if you have a newborn kid, you probably have an opinion on whether or not to vaccinate your kids. So it's like
it creates more of a discussion and a little bit more arguments and all that stuff.
And there's actually like they did like something. I'm like half-ass quoting things that I haven't even. But
you're the problem.
But we're saying things that like when you say it out loud, you're like, oh, well, I've experienced that. Like, I know when I get on Facebook that I'm seeing things, but it's kind of this trashy thing that I'm doing. That's really kind of sucks.
It literally just feeds off chaos.
Yeah.
It's just like, what is the most chaotic thing? Because chaos is what gets people engaged more.
Yeah, it's all about
just like
engagement.
It's just a giant like,
and it just
shit show.
Like when it starts doing the vaccination stuff, they followed it and they realized like once you start to follow one of those, it starts feeding you other things like flat earth theories and things like that. And it gets all the way to the point where it's like Holocaust stuff. And so it literally feeds into accidentally showing you these conspiracy groups. And before you know it, you're interacting with people who either don't have a filter online or whatever. And it it promotes this like insane online atmosphere that just pits everybody against each other.
Isn't that crazy?
Like,
it'll promote it and it will give people that aren't less educated a like opportunity to learn from this stuff, and then that's how these conspiracy theories blow up, because people like start to think, oh, this might be serious. There's so much discussion about it online. It must be something worth reading into. But really, it's just the system wanting to do that.
And then you take 2020 and let 2020 happen, and everybody's now being schooled from home, and you let your kid go do their schooling on an iPad for the whole day. or whatever happens. Like, you guys are all stuck at home. Your kid's on their iPad all day, and they're at the dinner table now talking about conspiracy theories because they're young and just learning stuff off the internet, and they don't know any different.
You and I loved the idea of conspiracy theories when we were younger.
Oh, yeah,
we
they're
entertained
so
like
great.
so many things that nowadays we'd be like, oh, of course that's dumb. Like, that's not real.
But we also we love ghost stuff. But we were the first persons to be like, we'll rule anything out though. Like, we knew we were entertaining ourselves
for sure.
Conspiracy theories. It's
absolutely.
Just, there's kids feel like they're learning online, and I'm curious if that's gonna come to fruition of them not really knowing what to believe ever, because now everybody already feels that way.
Yeah, are we officially old people now? Because I was just about to say, for us at least, it was just entertaining the conspiracy theories. We didn't have back then people to like literally thousands and thousands of people online to be like, no, dog, you're right, that's 100% what's going on.
Yeah,
and then you're like, shit, I think it might be. We didn't have that back then because the internet wasn't as crazy as it is now.
And I love that meme that floats around every once in a while. The whole when we were younger, we were told by our parents not to believe everything we saw on TV. And now we're the ones telling our parents don't believe everything you see on Facebook or on the internet.
Yeah.
Because we've grown up learning all of this sucks.
Yes.
Literally most of this content sucks unless it's somebody that I personally know posting something like they had a kid or that they, succeeded at something or they went on vacation or whatever. And even then all of that you could boil down to do we all need to even post any of that?
Right.
Or is it just for attention?
Yeah, totally.
It's just insane.
And we don't ever want to bring up politics on this podcast or anything. Yeah. We just feel like that's a toxic thing. Something I think that everybody would agree on though is, speaking of all this crazy stuff, how awesome is it that the next at least 3 years we're not going to hear or get texts on our phones or hear every single commercial about political ads? I'm
excited for that.
Right. Yeah. I'm just getting so tired of that shit.
Yeah. Regardless of who you're for or whatever, it's going to be nice to maybe have a break from all that. Because
I hope so.
Because even if you're into all that, man, it really encourages all that stuff we were just talking about, which is people just finding polarizing news. Because to be fair, I don't trust anything I really read online anymore. Regardless of what it is, good or bad, because each side of whatever we were talking about, whether it's politics or celebrity stuff, that's the only other thing I can think of, or even if it's just stupid little things like a company that wants to make a decision or move somewhere. It's you just can't trust anything because you have millions of people basically voting online with their opinion of whether or not something's true or not, and making things up, and the person who might be right has to now make things up to combat the person who's combating them for being right. It's just, all of it sucks. And I don't trust good or bad news anymore. Unless it's, charity stuff or, obviously good news. I just hate the internet.
You think somebody made up
Get
that
off
story?
the internet.
You think somebody made up that story about the whales? You think that's fake?
Yeah, dude. That was to make you happy.
That did make me happy.
No, dude, that's great. I love that. But just the other day they had that Bond girl they announced was dead. Did you hear that? There's an older Bond chick from one of the old Bond movies.
Okay.
I don't know the details, but basically for 2 days I kept saying oh, this person died, and I was like, oh man, that sucks. Another celebrity died. And then the next day it was this person was prematurely announced dead.
Ah, Jesus.
And then the next day she was dead.
Do you remember?
It was oh man, they manifested her death. The whole world.
They manifested it. She was perfectly fine before.
Yeah.
I can't remember if we talked about this on the previous podcast or not, but do you remember the whole Joan Rivers thing? How when
I can't remember.
She died. She was that comedian. She died, but a week later or 4 days later or something like that, she tweeted on her own account a joke, and it was because she had a system set up scheduled tweet that somebody didn't turn off, weird. And so everybody was just commenting wait, what is she, is this woman dead? Yeah, I don't know what to think.
That's insane.
I know.
She faked it but then forgot.
Yeah. And just I really need to tell this joke though. This is a really good one.
Oh man. But that was my whole thing about the news. It's just me discovering man, I can actually feel different ways looking at these 3 different, because there's people I know that are no man, you have to stay on Facebook, because I want to delete my Facebook all the time because that's a great source for news. It's
that's
I'm telling
insane.
you right now, Facebook, and I'll find myself clicking on news stuff on Facebook because it's ooh, but that's the point of it.
Yeah.
Like, it wants me to click on it.
Yeah.
And it's really bad.
I thought, no, Facebook's the worst place for
It is
news.
like-
I think, I can't imagine anybody saying that.
Yeah.
That Facebook is a great place for
Yeah.
news.
And
If they are saying it, it's just brainwash. Like,
Yeah, and sometimes it's like the stuff that's on the news section. It's like New York Times posts and stuff.
Mhm.
But the thing is, it finds the worst version of a story being told
Yeah.
and puts that in front of your face.
right.
Like-
Like you read the article and you find out like what the actual news is.
Yeah. Like,
But that headline.
Can you imagine Facebook being what it used to be when it started? Like, it literally just used to be us posting pictures of stuff.
Yeah.
And even before that, it was basically like a Twitter that you could put photos on and like people could go to your profile. Like,
Yeah.
it was so basic.
You want to start a hashtag bring back MySpace?
Dude, I wish they'd bring back MySpace.
Dude,
I mean, it exists still. You can have MySpace, but
Yeah. Do you see the thing? I saw like a meme going around. It was like a screenshot of a tweet where it's like, how awesome would it be if like Twitter like let us put music on our account so that people who went onto our Twitter account got to listen to music and stuff.
right.
Like, bitch, they did that.
They MySpace. But that's my little complaint about social media this episode. But
Nice.
you were about, I think you're about to, or that's probably what you're about to say.
No, I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, so it's funny. It's funny because I know it's 20 minutes. I've got something that says it. No, it's funny. It's funny because just yesterday, I think I always read, and this is one of those things where like we click on negative articles because it's just something that, and like, I hate that we do it, but I'll always read the KSN or Cake News Facebook comments to an article they post because it's always a shit show.
Yeah.
It's just always just a dumpster fire in there. And it's entertaining to see all the people argue and all that stuff. It's also pretty sad too. But, KSN will post an article and it'll be political or it'll be about somebody that died or a police chase that happened in town or something like that. And there's always, every single time, multiple comments that say, God, KSN, can you post something positive once in a while? Like, this is just the mainstream media trying to like get us all in negative moods and like bring us down and all that stuff. And then it's funny because when they do post something positive, that's like a local thing, they'll say, this isn't news. Like, what do you guys do? Like they posted an article the other day that talked about, I think it was like 2 nurses or something like that ended up getting engaged when they took a break. They were taking care of COVID patients or something like that. I don't know. I could be getting that all wrong. Either way, they got engaged and there was a beautiful story on it. They were gay. So all of the comments were like, there goes KSN trying to push that agenda again. And it's like, no, dude, they're just posting something positive. Like, this is what you asked for.
That's why sometimes I like, as awful as this sounds, I'm like, sometimes I just don't think people should be allowed to say their opinion online.
I know, dude. I know it goes against like the value of freedom.
Yeah.
Like, you're able to say what you want to say, but like some people are just dumb, you know?
Well, and it's like people like actors and stuff lose their careers, like a lot of
True.
times, like justifiably, but like beforehand, and it just goes because like the people who hire them have to do it for optics.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, true.
It's like there's whole companies who like aren't doing stuff during COVID because like, not because they give a shit, but because they need to look like they do.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Did you hear about the whole Jared Leto thing on the set of the Suicide Squad movie? And I know the H3H3 podcast covered this, which I watch a lot of time, and all of my friends know I do, so I'm not copying off them or anything. I just think it's funny in this situation. But Jared Leto apparently is just a piece of shit. He's just like,
oh really?
He's just sounds like the worst dude to work with because he's just weird and he's got that cult and stuff like that. I don't know if you're.
I don't know anything about that. We won't
talk about it. But, anyways, so like on the set of Suicide Squad, he like went full like method into the Joker when it really probably wasn't even necessary. There's an interview of Will Smith being like, "You're an actor. Like, you show up and you act, and then you act normal when you're not recording. Like, that's just human. That's just how it goes." And he's like, this guy though, like Will Smith on all the interviews about Jared Leto, you could tell he just like seems really annoyed by this guy. I guess Jared Leto went full Joker and like hired this dude to go into like his co-stars trailers and like leave horrible things behind and say, Mr. J sends his regards or something like that. He went into, apparently he had this guy go into Margot Robbie, her trailer, and leave a dead pig's head. And like it bled all over the place. And he's like, it's a gift from Mr. J. And then he walked out. Margot Robbie, I guess, was just like, okay, I guess somebody needs to come clean this up. And they had to like have people come in and like wipe blood off of the floor and all that stuff. And it's just super annoying, like unnecessary. But Jared Leto, speaking like what I'm getting at, the whole like celebrity people that manage their accounts and stuff. He would send all these gifts to the co-stars. And he, in like 3 different red carpet interviews, like said himself, because he wanted the attention, said like, yeah, I sent Will Smith used condoms and anal beads because like that, I thought that was something the Joker would do. And like Will Smith was asked about it, and he was like, yeah, man, I don't know, that's pretty weird. Like he didn't really want to talk too much about it and stuff. You could tell he's just uncomfortable. And I wonder if something happened where like his lawyers or his publicist or whatever was like, dude, you can get in trouble for sending someone used condoms. Yeah. Like that's gross as shit. Because he gave another interview where he was like, somebody asked him, he was like, so what's the deal with you sending Will Smith like used condoms and anal beads? And Jared Leto straight up, it's all on YouTube, goes, I don't know why people are saying that, man. I never did any of that. And he's like, it's crazy. Like, it's just a rumor that you hear and all that stuff. And there's like 3 separate videos of him being the one bringing it up and talking about it. And you could tell like somebody on his team was just like, dude, you need to walk that back. Like, isn't that crazy? Like,
yeah. The world is crazy.
Yeah, dude.
Like, we need can you imagine somebody doing that to you? And then you just happen to be like, okay,
yeah.
Like I get it. You do your thing. It works for you, but like you're not even the good Joker.
I know, right?
You're a side story Joker. You're a comic book Joker. Like,
God, dude. Speaking of the Batman movies, though, did you hear about Zack Snyder on this latest Batman movie? So apparently, like Robert Pattinson is who knows if this news is true? We just talked about news being fake and stuff, but the reports are that Robert Pattinson is like getting fed up with being on set with Zack Snyder, the director of the movie, because like he's just being impossible to work with. He's like doing retakes like ridiculous because the tiny little detail isn't exactly how he thought it was going to be in his head. And Robert Pattinson, I guess, gave an interview that said Zack Snyder will show up on set in like a bubble suit with like ski goggles on because he doesn't want to get COVID, and it makes him like impossible to hear. But like he's like the only one on set like that. I guess he's just going crazy on set, and it's like a pain in the ass.
Wow.
Which that sucks because that Batman movie looks dope.
Yeah.
The little trailer that came out.
That's yeah. That looks really good. I've never really been a Batman movie person other than like the
Nolan ones.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks really good.
It does.
Like actually to entice me to watch it.
Looks badass.
How much time we got?
Probably 2 minutes.
You watched that Wonder Woman movie?
No. Wait. You want to rephrase that question?
Wonder Woman?
No, I haven't, but I heard it's garbage.
Ashley and I put it on, and to be fair, we're not DC people in general. We never even watched the first one. We just were like, oh, this.
I heard the first one was good.
Well, we started the first one a long time ago, and we're like, ooh, and I turned it off. But also, we're just picky. Like we figured we're probably wrong in that opinion because a lot of people loved it. But we turned this one on and we gave it a good try, and we were like, this is weird. Like, it's just none of this makes any sense. And I go, and we kind of chalked it up to we didn't see the first one, so maybe it makes more sense. But like, now that it's been a while since it's come out, I'm seeing stuff. I'm like, okay, it wasn't just us then, because this is hard to watch.
Yeah, I just heard it's just cringy and just the worst.
It's really weird.
Don't they like make Chris Pine come back in like another person's body, and then like him and Wonder Woman have sex at some point, and then like they kind of like gloss over the fact that it's with another human person suit that they're doing this stuff with? So
no spoilers. Yes. That is exactly like, yeah, it was really confusing because like you see him, but apparently from what we gathered to her, she sees another person, but it's totally cool with just like being with this guy. I heard the argument that it was like the stone that you wish for, that you make wishes for. Yeah, they come across the stone. How like there's a lot of contradictory things that people can wish for, and it's like, why didn't you just wish for this? It would like solve half of the movie's problems or something like that. I don't know. It was really weird, and then it's really weird to see the guy who plays the Mandalorian like just like be this weird character. Oh yeah, he was the villain, right? I mean, that's not the problem, but you should watch Narcos sometime. He does a really good job in it. I used to watch Narcos, and I just need to start it again. Like back in the beginning when it was like got really big. I loved it. I got off it for some reason. Super good. But this was a random one. Yeah, so random. We got a lot of topics in on that one. So you can see how scatterbrained we are with topics, and like this is just us. And if you enjoy it, then that's great. But if you want us to talk about a specific thing, let us know what you want us to talk about. Yeah, man. We'll talk about stuff. Can I just get one peace and blessings? Peace and blessings. All right, everybody. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Yeah. Shoot us a message in the comments. Yep. We'll see y'all next time. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings to all. And to all a good peace and blessings.